Hello, welcome everyone. Welcome, beautiful souls. I have a special episode with the wisdom keeper Fride Vedde, and we are going to talk about Moorea, whales, dolphins. And so, welcome, Fride. Welcome to the
Thank
show.
you. Thank you.
Let me briefly introduce you from the way, because we are really long time friends, and I definitely believe we are friends in other lifetime as well. So I know you have been participated in the spiritual awakening journey for a long time. You have been working with different type of energy modalities and meditation, and you have deep connection with whales and dolphins and Muria and Syrian and dragons. I remember that like I think we connected first through the dolphin, the joyful connection. And so I would say you are someone who really has a strong energy, a big heart, a big mission as well here to really share your passion and your love for this earth life, with the nature, Gaia, and so many things. I hope that do you justice.
Well, I think you're too kind. I love it. It's fun to see you improvise.
Yes, so for those that are listening, like, we already are starting to have fun before we even hit the recording because we really want this conversation, this co-creation to be organic and authentic. And when it comes to whales and dolphins, right, that is that energy of, I don't know, authentic and ancient, but it's also very light, isn't it? It's very loving. It's just like full of love and compassion.
And especially the dolphins. That when you said that earlier, that reminded me that when we did connect, it was actually through the dolphins.
Yeah.
You were like a human dolphin, the way I experienced you. You know, that joy. And when we together, we have a lot of fun. There's some
Yeah.
laughter, which is the
Yeah.
dolphin energy for me. It's that joy and love. It's so pure. You just join the dolphins and then right away you feel so much better.
You went on dolphin retreat with an amazing facilitator, and you went on whale retreat. I know you are very inspired after your own retreat with other facilitator, and then you just answer your call in internal calling, and then you just went on to organize your retreat and enable people a huge healing and heart expanding experience to have close encounter with whales. How was your first experience when you went underwater and then you see the whale up and close? Can you
Yeah.
remember how that
Oh, I
was?
definitely can remember that. I think
Yeah,
everybody will
share
remember
with
their
us.
first encounter with the whales because that is really, well, first of all, it's very overwhelming and you can't believe that you're actually there in the water with the whales. And they're quite large. There's a grown-up whale is about 15 to 18 meters long, and a baby whale is about 3 meters long. And my first encounter was a mother and a baby. And the mother, she was a little bit further down, and then she was resting, and then she turned her belly up, which
Oh,
means surrender, like the dogs do and the cats do. Then the grown-up whale only needs to come up every 25 minutes or so to breathe, but a baby has to come up every 5 minutes. So while she was resting, the baby was coming up and down and sort of checking us out, and we felt like we were the entertainment for the standing for the mom. We're like the babysitters. So the baby was checking us out, and the mother was just lying there peacefully. And then the baby would go down, and the pectoral fins would touch, and baby would swim around. And you just felt that incredible love and the peace and the serenity. And it was just so powerful, like nothing I've ever experienced. And then when when the mom looks at you, when you're sort of like eye to eye with the whale, just you feel how it just sees straight through you because their brain is much larger than us and they're so wise. And you can feel that that wisdom. You can feel it. You can sort of feel that she sees straight through you and that she loves you. And
yeah.
it's that love frequency which is so powerful, and it's like an energetic field around them, which I in the beginning thought was the current of the ocean because I kept being drawn into them. But it's
Yeah.
actually, I think it's that energetic field because no matter from what angle you are, I later discovered
Mm.
I was just drawn into their field. So it's just
Mm.
very powerful, yeah. And afterwards, you will see a lot of people, they will cry and you have like a whale bliss because you get all this euphoria and I think that's it. Like your frequency rise up, like your vibrations rise from this encounter. And that's why you sort of blissed out afterwards. And it's
Mm.
very powerful. And that was my first encounter. And then I've had several, of course. And then to be able to share this with others and then experience their bliss from the first time they experience the whale, it's just incredible. Yeah. There's nothing like it. I mean, I've
Yeah.
done so many things in my life, but there's nothing like this. This is the most beautiful experience I can share, I think.
In hindsight, how do you feel, or maybe now you can tune into that moment, like, how do you feel that close encounter, especially eye to eye? How does that change you, or what does it open you up to?
Well, right there, I didn't feel, it's not that I came, well, actually, no, I did come out of the water feeling like a different person.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did. But I mean, it didn't all of a sudden now, it wasn't like now I can walk on water, you know? I felt forever changed in a sense. And I think what it does is that it does open up new gifts or enhances the gifts you already have.
Mm-hmm.
Because I had already started with automatic writing and I had also connected with the whales before going to Moorea through
Yeah.
automatic writing. But it just enhanced everything. That's what I
Yeah.
would say. Your own
Right.
abilities, yeah. But I
Yeah. 'Cause
think for my when it comes to my own the participants last year on my retreat last year, some actually said that they started connecting telepathically with whales after the retreat.
that's beautiful, because when I was listening to you describing that, that moment of eye to eye, and I just feel like there is a certain, like you were describing as well, there's a very strong frequency and right transmission, and I just feel like, of course, the individual has to say yes in order to travel, prepare the trip and then all the way and physically to be there and have the courage to jump down and then to have that resonance, so that you are able to be in the water in such encounter with the whales, especially the mother and the son. So I almost feel like there, like you said, that there's this unconditional love, and there's more than that. It's almost like, when you say they are seeing through you, I almost feel like there's also like a soul transmission that they are
Yeah,
able to activate. And I'm have, joys like to hear you say, actually in hindsight, you feel like when you come back to the water, you above the water, you feel you're different. Because I feel that is such a deep resonance with many star seeds. People don't have to know they are star seeds in order to have that deep connection with whales, because I think that's very universal, the attraction. But for star seeds,
you will see
yeah.
people who are not spiritual at all. You can go on YouTube, filming their own encounters with the whales, and they have a similar reaction, with crying and very blissful. So yeah, you don't have to be spiritual. I think it's just I don't know if it's automatic, but I'm inclined to think that it's automatic, but I'm sure maybe it's not. But it is, I think, very special for anyone who does this. And also one thing that was really surprising to me was that because the eye of the whale, even if the picture image behind you, which is a
Yes.
humpback whale, which is the kind of whale that we swim with, the eye is so small, right?
Really?
I
Yeah.
mean, very small. But when you are in the water with a whale, it's not small at all. It's quite big. It's just that
Yeah.
the whale is so big. But
Yeah.
comparatively, their eyes is very, it's large when you're looking straight at it.
Yeah. That's amazing.
What I think was the most outstanding,
Mm.
incredible witness for myself was that two of the participants actually had water fright. They had really fair water, and they traveled all the way from Norway, which is across, as
Yeah.
far as you can get on the other side of the world to swim with whales in the largest sea in the world, the Pacific.
Yeah.
And one of them said to me, I don't know what I was thinking, Frida. But she had heard a podcast interview and she started crying and she just knew she had to come. And
Yeah.
before that, like 3 months before, she had seen a documentary about French Polynesia and she
Mm.
knew she had to go to French Polynesia one day. So when she
Yeah.
heard the interview, she just knew this is it. I have to go. And she ended up swimming with the whales several times. And another lady who was even more afraid of the water, like
Mm.
she was really afraid to have salt water in her mouth. And here she's supposed to swim with the whales. But on the last day, she did it. And I think both of them, they healed lifetimes of drowning or something. I mean, there's big healing going on. That's essentially what happens, is that
Mm.
you are healed. So
Mm.
that's very individual for each and one, what you
Mm.
need, how you are healed. I also healed, like you will heal, like everybody, there's something that will heal. Sometimes maybe you don't even know what it is. Like one participant, she said she didn't understand what really happened until she came home because she was
Mm.
so overwhelmed by the experience. And then when she got home and she started reliving it, then she started noticing the effects.
Oh,
So,
oh, oh,
and also
good.
for myself, what happened when I got back onto the boat after my first initial swim with the whales. I was sitting there in front of the boat by myself, like the other ones were behind talking, and I was just reliving it. I didn't want to leave. So I was just like reconnecting with the whales and the experience and reliving it. And it was so like I got to feel my heart getting activated. I started crying. And then all of a sudden, three fishermen stood in front of me, Polynesian looking. And I knew it was my family. Like they only had like something around their hips, like a loincloth and a fishing spear, and then long black hair. And I knew that this was, again, this part of the homecoming. That was truly like the most magnificent experience of homecoming I've ever had. And whether they were Polynesian or Lemurian, I don't know. But I mean, I just came home, and I tend to believe that maybe it's a mix. If
Yeah.
anyone is related DNA wise or physically to the Lemurians today, it is
Mm.
the Polynesians because Lemuria was in that region.
Yeah.
So whether you see Lemuria as a mythical place or a Garden of Eden or actual place
Mm.
that existed, that was the area that it's located to. And of
Mm.
course, the island of Moorea is a paradise. It looks like the Garden of Eden.
Yeah.
It's an incredibly special island. It's very magical.
Yeah. Well, I don't know why before you started to get very emotional and tears, and I just already started to feel the welling up of the emotions. And what I actually feel very inspired, what was coming through was that, when you talk about healing lifetimes or like fear of water or, open up to telepathic connection or just have this homecoming, I feel that is like physically taking us to sacred sites, but I feel like sacred sites is very very narrow, right? We only think Machu Picchu is sacred site or like specific area, but I feel what is happening to many of us, and specifically star seeds, is like we're being called to go to places that we feel inspired or accidentally saw a documentary, for example, right? And then we are meant to connect with certain people, like like you were meant to hold space for the people to heal in that, in the environment, because you yourself is so connected to Lemuria and the water consciousness and the whales collective. And so I just feel it's almost like we are moving to a new stage of healing or awakening or remembering, is that we need to literally take our physical body to certain places to get activated, right? Activated by the people, like the fishermen you were talking about, by the land that you landed, by the whales, by all this combination of the frequency that the mountains and the oceans are emitting. And I feel that was very touching, as if I was able to experience that, or maybe I am about to experience that, on a new level, because I think I feel like over the past 2 years, we have done so much healing of Lemuria wounding, right? Like the annihilation or the letting, I don't know. For me, there was part of the abandonment of, being abandoned by the Star families during Lemurian time when it was ending. And of course, it's not the whole truth, but what the soul choose to carry, the imprints, the memories, it's not, it's just here for us to heal. And very often the best healing, the most beautiful healing is just to be there presently with loving people such as yourself holding space. And then, through the medium of reconnection with whales, that we are able
Yeah, and
to.
that reminds me that last year when I was connecting with the whales in terms of organizing my own retreat,
Mm,
um, they did speak a lot about healing, that it's we are getting together to heal
mm,
ourselves and also Mother Earth. But there's a
yeah,
lot of healing that goes on.
yeah.
And I think the most clear example was the healing perhaps of drownings, because it's something which is so real, you know. But I think there's a lot of emotional healing and a lot of well, depends on the person, but there is layers of healing that can happen. But what the whales were saying is that that doesn't necessarily need to be when you go deep, because I think when you encounter the whales, you go deep. You go
Yeah.
deep within. It's almost automatically. For me, the dolphins are the joy and the love, and the whales, they are the love and the wisdom. And you don't acquire wisdom without going deep. You know what I mean? You have to go deep. So they are the wisdom keepers, and they're the keeper of their kash, and they are just embodying this deepness, you can say. So
Mm,
so so when you meet, and also they're so big, so on a physical level, so you're really outside of your comfort zone, right? Although they are the gentlest beings and they will never touch you or hurt you or anything like that, but it still takes some guts or some courage to get into the water.
yeah.
So you feel easily vulnerable. And I think in that vulnerable space, that's when healing can happen. But what I thought was interesting that the whales were saying is that you don't need to, to heal, you don't need to be, it doesn't need to be painful.
No.
Healing through joy and
Yes.
uplifting and raising the vibration. Because in a sense, when you raise the vibrations, you heal as well.
Mm,
So
mm.
in that sense, I felt it was it's like a lazy person's way of healing. Because you can sort of skip through some of the steps, you know?
Yeah, yeah, I love that. Yeah. Yeah, I think it's really just open ourselves to, I feel like that healing as well, like it encompass the awakening, the remembering, right? Like remembering we are bigger than the challenges that we've fixated upon, bigger than what we think who we are, just this, one person without a lot of ability or capacity or whatever power or energy in order to shift the world. But we are here together, collectively to upshift, right?
And I also think that the people that gather in these retreats, it's not by coincidence. Like the whales, they told me they send out energetic invitations, right? And not necessarily everybody will respond, but
Mm.
some they will respond. They will feel the calling of the whales. They feel very drawn to come and swim with the whales for whatever reason. Whether it
Yeah.
makes sense or not, that's, they just answer a calling, whether they know it or not. And when you get together like that, you may discover that it's a reunion. That for
Yeah.
some it's a union, and with others it's a reunion. You are meeting again. Like I've had meetings there where that awakened memories from Lemuria or Polynesia, however, with another participant, which
Right.
is fascinating when you because then you develop very quickly this soul family feeling, because you're
Mm.
experiencing something so extraordinary, so out of the ordinary
Yeah.
together. And then when you meet somebody, and you just click and you have these experiences, that's so powerful as well. I mean, that you, as you know, we do, like when we met as well the first time, and for some
Mm.
reason we just really connected very quickly, very easily, very effortlessly, thanks to the dolphins. But still, there's a remembrance sometimes. And I
Yeah.
think in these kind of retreats, and perhaps especially when swimming with whales, this occur. Because it's not like my son was saying, well, mom, not everybody, it's not the ordinary person who's going to attend your retreat. It's going to be a bunch of eccentrics.
That's true.
Because,
Yeah, I was just.
normal people don't travel across the world to swim with whales. So that cracked me up laughing. And I think there's something to that, maybe, you know.
Yeah.
But it draws a certain kind of person. And they are drawn together at a certain time, like the timing, and then you get
Mm.
together and you discover why am I here with this particular group?
Yeah. I think every group gathering holds a different frequency or reasons,
Yeah.
right? Even though it looks for individual is different, but then there's always a collective thing. Do you have any particular intention for this upcoming two retreats, or like you feel inspired? What is your sense about this retreat upcoming in September and October?
Well, I'm really excited about it. I think I was very excited last year as well. And for me, it was like a initiation because although I've
Mm,
organized a lot of different things in my life, I've
mm,
never done a spiritual retreat swimming with whales before. So that was a steep learning curve. But I think it's just so magical. And we haven't even touched upon the island of Moorea,
yeah,
which,
right.
which I think is the most incredible island I ever went to. It's the heart-shaped island, and
Oh.
it's known for housing to be the divine feminine counterpart of the divine consciousness grid that
Mm,
unites. So I don't know if you're familiar with the unity consciousness grid, but according to Drunvaldo Melchizedek, all these you mentioned about these special places around the sacred sites around the world, like Stonehenge and Machu Picchu and Red Rock, and all these sacred sites around the world, they are connected through a grid.
mm-hmm.
And
Yes.
this grid has a feminine counterpart, which meets in Moorea, in the middle of Moorea in the mountain. And then if you go straight through to the other side of the world, you come half a mile from the pyramids in Giza in
Mm,
Cairo, and that's
right.
the male counterpart. So it's really a very special place on earth for us who are into spirituality and this. And I didn't know that when I went there the first time, but what I did feel was this incredible presence of Mother Earth and the love of Mother Earth and this island and also the people that live there are so beautiful. But I connected very strongly with Mother Earth by a waterfall there. And I felt this incredible unconditional love that Mother Earth has for us. So yeah, we got a little cut off. But I think the essence of this is that Mother Earth, her love is so unconditional for us.
Mm,
It's so
mm,
pristine, and it's nothing we can do to change that.
yeah.
We hurt her and she will still love us, but of course there's no reason to hurt her. We need to heal her as well, or heal nature as good as we can. But her love for us is completely unconditional. And
Mm,
that's also very healing. Like I healed a lot of my own wounds through her unconditional love. And I didn't understand it at the time, but I realized it later that oh, this pain is gone. Like I had carried a sadness with me my whole life, and it
yeah.
was gone. And I
Mm,
didn't. It's not that I was always aware of it, but I was aware of it when it was gone because
mm,
I felt no longer felt it what I was used to feeling. If that
yeah.
makes sense, yeah.
It does. It does. I think different plays carry a different frequency, right? Like we know the grids, and I feel a lot of places with strong, such as Morea, holds such a strong pristine frequency, like maybe Lemuria frequency or Garden of Eden. I feel like we talk about the golden grid, like it's part of the nodes, and it feels just very like strong life force, right? And I remember you told me about the mountains, the volcanic mountains, and then you just mentioned about the waterfall, and it's almost feel like everywhere in Morea, it almost feel like when we are willing to tune in, just quiet our mind, like when you were saying meaning well, you need to go in like deep and quiet down, and I feel that's what you know we get to experience if we are willing, if we're answering the call to the resonance, to be there, and then to, just like connect with the place. Just being there, it feels like it's very healing, through the interaction. And I know you usually arrange like so many trips going out to, swim with the whales and swim with the dolphins or stingrays. You have a strong connection with water. So I think that makes this retreat, like the space you're holding even more potent because like you were saying, Moorea is an island. It's a huge space of surface of water. And I know you recently connected with the coral consciousness. Like, do you feel maybe you wanted to share part of the message that you feel is in resonance to our conversation so far?
Yeah, sure. That was very different actually to connect with the corals because when they came through, because what I've always have received, I'm just adjusting a little bit here. What I have received before, both from the whales and the dolphins and others, is this very positive, uplifting messages. And then the corals came in, and the first thing they said, "We are the coral collective. We have come forth to warn you about X."
Ocean.
And I almost jumped in my chair because it was so unexpected. I thought it was going to be something beautiful and this and that, and then like, bam! They're not wasting their time, are they? And they say, we know this is not what you want to hear, but this is what we are facing in increasing parts of the ocean. And you all know this, yet it doesn't sink in that we are all in this together. And I thought it sort of like jerked me a little bit. And
Right.
I do feel this, I do feel it's very important to heal the oceans and by
Mm.
lifting it vibrationally. I mean, a lot of people do the 3D stuff, the
Yeah.
actual physical heat, emptying it for the plastics or or organizing to prevent mines from dumping factories from dumping the pollution into the ocean. All these like 3D things, which are very, very important to do. And I feel I am here to more look at the 5D aspect
Mm.
to heal it vibrationally because I
Mm.
think those link very well together.
Yeah.
And when I ask the choral collective what it's like to be them, and they say that from their perspective, it's a magnificent, wonderful place to be, that they have like the orchestra plays, they're right on the forefront to life at sea, because all the life that passes through them and that is hidden by them and is dependent on them. And then they said that we have so much to teach you about us resting in ourselves and
Right.
letting life come to us and
Right.
observing what's right in front of us, hidden in plain sight at times, and hidden behind the obvious.
Mm.
And that we are tangible, sensitive, and so are you. And when you are treated as such, you blossom, as do we.
Mm.
So, what they suggested was to see them as the intricate lungs of the sea and to compare them with our lungs.
Mm.
So, if we pollute our lungs, they turn gray, they clog up, they wither away, as do they, the
Yeah.
collective, the
Yeah.
corals. So then
Right.
what will we do, right? So
Yeah.
what they suggest is that when we breathe, that we also breathe for the ocean and that we breathe for them. So this way you merge with us and you can envision us as getting stronger and envision you getting stronger and send us love and send you love and
Mm.
then they make it in a bigger picture that by making this comparison with all living nature, you strengthen your bond to nature and you
Mm.
strengthen your bond to us. And all this strengthens the connection collectively. And the
Right.
more we do this, the more we restore nature and we raise the collective vibrations. And then to remember that we are always in this together. We are
Mm.
all dependent on each other. So that left me sort of fascinated with the corals. So lately I mean, they're so beautiful and the colors of the corals, right? And
Yeah.
they're so special. And you have them when you snorkel in Moorea, you will see the corals in different colors and the little fish schools that are sustained by them. And it's also colorful, all kinds of colors, and it's so beautiful.
Yeah.
But I came across this organization
Mm-hmm.
called Gardeners, which started in Moorea by young surfers and fishermen. And they have started an organization because they are witnessing, right? They live in the sea. They start swimming before they start walking almost. So they are living in the sea. I mean, they spend so much time in the sea. So they have been watching the corals go extinct.
Yeah.
Difficult word, this one. And they, in 2017, they started a collaboration where they are planting. They actually have a little nursing school for
Wow.
corals. So
Yeah.
they are planting them, like restoring the corals basically. And
Right.
it has grown to now be like a global organization. And since 2017, they have planted more than 100,000 corals around French Polynesia and Fiji and Thailand so far. And I think that's quite incredible. So we're going to go and spend a day with them and
Right.
restore corals, learn about the corals and restore corals and plant corals, yeah, and help them out. And I think that,
Yeah.
and we can even adopt a coral. But I think that's, I can't wait to do that because I haven't done that. I just found it online and I really want to check this out. And if it feels like it was the corals coming forth, and then, that inspires that action.
Yeah, yeah. I love that. I love that. I love what they suggest to like, have that. It's almost like merging or shape shifting, merging. Imagine when we are breathing, we are clearing out in an ocean. Because we are water. We are
Yes,
very connected.
exactly. We come from the water. All
Yeah,
life originated in water, and whether we
yeah,
are 75% or 90% water, the
yeah.
experts, they have different opinions. We have a lot of water, and I feel that. Like when I'm in the water, I can feel that
Mm,
you can feel that merging with the water and the healing powers of the water as well, especially the seas. The oceans are very healing, physically
right.
healing.
Yeah, yeah. I think it comes the time that it's almost like we are being nudged to honor more of the elements in our body, right? Like we are the air, like we are the water, we are the earth, like because we come from earth, we come from Gaia. So everything is part of the earth. It's almost like really letting go of so much separation, start by small shifts. And I
Yeah,
wanted
and if
to,
you, sorry.
yeah, go
Yeah, no, I just wanted to add that, yes, because the way I see it, everything is consciousness. So
ahead.
the water has its own consciousness, right? And Morea has its own consciousness. And when you are in the water, when you're in the ocean, you can connect with the consciousness of the ocean.
Yeah.
And then I've had experiences where, for example, if it's raining when you're in the ocean and you see those little droplets dancing on the surface. It's almost like you can feel them dancing. You can feel the consciousness of those little droplets. It's
That's
fascinating.
amazing. Yeah, yeah. I actually wanted to talk about coral because I think it was 2001 when I started to learn scuba diving, and because I came from Taiwan, and so I remember back then, Taiwan was called the kingdom or the heaven of coral reefs because they
Oh,
are just
really?
like such a
Oh,
big
you're a
variety.
coral baby.
Yeah, so but then I remember like this, very soon when we were starting to scuba dive, even though it was almost like 22, 23 years ago, there was already this awareness like coral reefs were going extinct back then. So
Yeah.
I'm like amazed and almost very excited to hear that they created this cultivation or like growing
Nursery.
coral, like speech babies, coral
Yes.
babies.
They call it
Amazing.
nursery, coral nursery.
Nursery, nursery, coral nurseries. Cute. It's incredible. It's incredible. Yeah, I cannot wait to see that in person as well. Like to see how they started this idea. And I just feel like like the thing about healing together with the earth or like moving forward, right? It's like everybody does our part.
Yes.
Right, when the fishermen they see that and then they have this idea, of course it's like they like the idea comes through because they feel the need, and then they are like people started to take the first step, and then like people coming together, and then you said they now grow into global organization because I just feel like we just get to do the first part or our part, and then others will join to do their part, and together it will become a movement. Yeah, and I feel, I wanted to tie in back to you. Like you do your part when you hear the call to say, okay, I want to take people here because connecting with Will is so life-changing. And then you answer the call, you went through, you say your steep curve, and then you went through it. And then I know you have grown a lot, evolved, let's say evolved a lot and healed a lot through that
Mhm.
experience, right? But it's just so amazing because you also enable a lot of life-changing experiences for all the participants. And I know you're still in contact, so it's just very, I think that's how changes take place, right? That's how the shifts on earth take place. It's like you do your part, I do my part, and when we come together, like synergetically, share the message and we invite more people to join, and then, you know, it becomes like a big movement, right? Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And also, I mean, you don't even really need to travel. I mean, you can sit in your own living room. Not everybody can go to Moorea, right? Not everybody can go to these sacred sites. And you can always connect with these sacred sites without going there. And I don't think everybody's supposed to go there either, but some of us are drawn to go to these places. And
Yeah.
if you are drawn to go to these places, I believe that you are meant to go to these places. I am one of those, and you are one of those, you know. I have another friend who is not one of those, but she connects with them energetically. For example, when I told her about the Camino, she had never heard about the Camino. But when I explained the Camino de Santiago, that, thousands have done this, or millions have done this for 2000 years, this pilgrimage in northern Spain. And when I talked about it, she says, that's what it was. I'm like, what was? She said, oh, there was one time she was lying in bed, and then all these people were coming at her from different ages, and she didn't understand it. But now she connected the dots. Now she knew it was the Camino, that it was the pilgrims from different centuries that came through her, like came to her, you know. So
Yeah.
she clearly she doesn't travel anywhere, and she doesn't need to because it comes to her. In a
Yeah.
sense, like the corals, life comes to them. But I think
Yeah.
for some of us, like you were saying earlier, that when you go to a place, you feel yourself getting activated. It activates something within you. It's like opening another key to your heart, or somewhere, to a past life. When I landed in Lima the first time, I stepped on, and I knew I had a life in South America, and I felt so incredibly at home in South America. It didn't make sense, but I just, like, I was home. And
Yeah.
when I left, I thought I was completely convinced I was going to go back in 6 months, and now here we are 30 plus years later. And I still haven't gone back yet, but I will go back, you know? So it is fascinating for those of us who are called to go traveling. It is important to heed that calling. And I've been
Because
shown that I
yeah.
thought I would go to activate something in me, but the thing is, when you activate something in you, you also activate something in the land. So it's a co-creation.
Yeah, yeah, beautiful. That's what I was going to say that because the effect is never one-sided, right?
Hmm.
Like, it's like when we are being called to somewhere at a specific time, there's
Yeah.
always also like energetically, like cosmically, that we are transmitting stuff to the grid,
Yeah.
and I think because we know that we are such a specific flavor or
Yeah.
the combination of ingredients of the soul frequency, right? And your history and all the healing you have done, all the lessons and wisdoms you have carried. Every one of us really plays an important part. And I feel like that's why, many of us are grid workers. Some of
Hmm.
them are blatantly like, I'm here to be a grid worker. But I think a lot of people, even without knowing we are the grid worker, we just love traveling,
Yeah.
right? Like just go places and anchor in different frequency and to be activated. And it's just fascinating. And I
And
think
follow the path of synchronicity, basically.
I feel like when we're being called, and even though there will be some seemingly challenge, right? Like people will say, oh, the time,
Always.
the money, always. Like if something good is calling us, there are always reasons.
That's an important part of it. It becomes
Yeah.
like, I don't know if you're familiar with the hero's journey in the classics, the hero's journey, like Odysseus. on their way to their goal, they encounter all these obstacles. And I think
Mm.
part of the spiritual journey is like a hero's journey. It's you encounter these obstacles. It's not going to be easy. And for me, often that has been that I don't have the money to travel, and then I have to manifest to travel, the money to travel. And
Yeah.
for others, it can be other things, and it can be like physical restrictions, or it can be even like COVID restrictions. Some people were traveling during the pandemic because they felt called to go places, and they were able to travel in spite of not supposedly be able to travel, but it opens doors, and
Mm.
they were able to travel. But the thing is, they had to challenge that, right? It didn't
Yeah.
make sense to travel
Mm.
then, but they did it, and it worked out. I have one
Yeah.
friend from Holland. She didn't care about she was driving all over, like between Holland and Spain, up and down like that, as if there was no pandemic going on. And she never got
Mm.
stopped, and the
Mm.
borders were closed, but she passed through.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I also think that, for example, when we're in Moorea, when we were sitting by the bungalows, because right on the beach is on the coral beach, actually, which is so wonderful. It's on the coral beach. And right in front of that, the whales would pass every day.
Mm.
And it was so fascinating that we would be sitting there, maybe having coffee or breakfast or just chatting or writing our diary or whatever. And then, but if we are having a conversation, it was so typical that the moment that the whales would come up, that we'd see the
Wow.
whales, it was so perfect with what we were talking about. It was like a confirmation, it was like a synchronistic meeting with the whales passing by. Of course, it's so magical. When you're on these magic trips, everything becomes so magical. The
Yeah.
synchronicity, yeah,
Yeah.
part of it. And that's how you sort of also, I think, you feel that as opposed to just a regular travel, you feel that magic. It sort of ramps up the magic.
Mm. Yeah.
You get these confirmations that you are
Right.
on the record,
Yeah.
just continue.
Yeah. Yeah. Beautiful. Beautiful. I'm curious that do you feel, is there anything you want to share to people about your upcoming two retreats? And I know I would really love to be one of them, to be in one of them. Yeah. But
Love for you to be in one of them. Well,
yeah.
what I would say, what I think is really interesting is that if you feel drawn to swim with the whales, if you feel drawn to come to this retreat, just do it. Like one of the participants, she wrote that in her review. It's on the website. If you feel that calling, just do it. Because I think the way I experienced it last year, because when we got together the first night, the first day, we actually did around the table, and everybody told their story of why they had come, and everybody had their own individual reasoning, which involved what they felt was a calling from the whales, like they felt drawn to the retreat. And I believe that to be true. But it was also interesting because there were certain other people who also felt the calling, that I had conversations with, and they were really felt the calling to come. And they say, well, I cannot do it this year for this reason, but I'll come next year for sure. None of them has come this year. And I think that's so interesting. I thought, wow, does that mean that the calling for them was last year? Do you know what I mean?
Right. Right.
Because
Yeah.
I would have last year, I thought some of them would come this year then, because they seem really like this year they're going to go, but they're not. And I thought that's so interesting. What does that mean? Does that mean that the calling was for last year? Or does it just mean that unless you keep it alive, it sort of withers away? I have no idea. But what I
Mm.
would say is that if you feel drawn to swim with the whales, if you have a love of the whales or Moorea or anything, if you feel that inkling, just send a request out to the universe and request that the path will open so you can go.
Yeah, I think it's really about saying yes first, right? Like prioritize our desire or the calling, right? Because
Yes. Yeah.
it's more than just a whim. Or I think the calling with whale, from the whale or with the whale, is definitely coming very deep within our soul. And definitely it's really about taking the first step, saying yes, and then see how we align the energy to what we desire. And then step by step allow co-creation of the miracles or synchronicity to open the doors.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
And
love
also, I
that.
mean, if you feel called to come on the retreat without actually swimming with the whales, I mean, for health reasons or whatever reasons, if you're not a good if you don't, because you have to be able to swim 100 meters. The boat cannot go all the way to the whales. They have to be 100 meters or 100 yards away from the whales. You have to be able to swim that distance. And if you feel resistant to that, you can always come and sit in the boat, because sitting in the boat and seeing the whales is also quite spectacular. It's also very special. And just being on Moorea is also incredibly special. So it's like a whole package. It's not only swimming with the whales, although, you know, that's for me the strongest. But I think it's also just being there.
Yeah, yeah. I can feel that because there is so much more confidence rising once one goes through what we believe we couldn't have done, but we actually make it happen, right? And then, and well, I just want to say, for me, you know, life is very precious, right? And there are always, we can always find reasons not to do something, or we can always find reason to do something that is calling us. And I think the energetics right now is getting so heightened. Like, it's almost like if you're being called to, you know, not when, of course, we're talking about whale retreat, but then if you're being called to start a project, you know, it's really hard to resist.
Yeah.
It's getting harder, right? So just open up to what is calling you, and then remember why you signed up to be human. Yeah. And I definitely see the transformation in you, you know, through the first year and the second year. So I'm so excited to have the whales.
Well, thank you. I feel it as well that you know, when you live with yourself, you sort of get used to things, so you don't necessarily think about it much.
Yeah. Good. So I think we're coming to an end, and we will put your information and website, you know, in the description. So if anyone who wants to hop on a call with you, I know you offer, you know, sort of like Q&A call just to, you know, get to connect and then see what question, you know, the persons have. Yeah.
I love that, actually. I mean, people don't need to feel resistant to booking a call, because I love doing those calls. I really like to connect with people that are coming on the retreat beforehand. And even if they decide not to come on the retreat, that's fine too. But, you know, I'd rather them connect and talk to them. Connected. Oops. It stopped again. What to say? What I want to say is that don't be shy. Please reach out, book a call, because I love connecting with people, and no strings attached. And if they come along, that's fantastic. And if they don't, if we have a inspiring conversation, that's fine too. I'm completely fine with that. But it's just really lovely to connect with people before they come on the trip. So I love those conversations. Yeah.
Yeah. I know we're coming to an end, but I actually feel being called to do a short channeling.
Let's talk about the retreat. I'll ask them questions. That's wonderful.
Greetings. We are the Blue Whale Collective, and of course, not only exclusive blue whale, we also have the humpback whale and the different whales present here. And we wish to come through to say hello. It is about reconnecting back to your soul lineage. It is about receiving codes when you say yes. And we understand there's a lot could happen through meditation and activation, but nothing beats the sheer joy of physical transmission when you are in the presence, or when you are in our presence, the whale's presence, because the sound, the heart rate, the heartbeat of the physical heartbeat of the whales, the vibration, the brainwave that is transmitting when we choose to be close with you, we are already sensing where you are, and we are sending you whatever that is ready for you to receive. So it's our greatest joy and excitement to invite you to start connecting with the whales that you feel drawn to, whether it's through the images, the videos, or physically in the ocean. And so we welcome the question.
Yeah, I thought I would have a million questions, but all of a sudden I don't have a question. I think what you said was really very perfect.
Thank you.
Do you have the message for my retreats and the people that are gathering there.
The heart intention of this retreat that you are holding, our beloved, we want to call you Wisdom Keeper. You are here to create a safe space, nurturing space for people to open themselves so that they are able to truly, we would say, honor and surrender that which they no longer need, so that they are able to come back more into their true essence. It is in another human term, it's called remembering and awakening. Because in order to remember, you need to let go of what is not true or what is no longer resonating. And so the people that are being called to your gatherings will be the one that are ready to step further into their embodiment in terms of their soul work. That is to reconnect deeper to their galactic lineage. We are not only talking about Lemurian lineage in this time, although Lemurian is also very galactic, but a lot of these people that will be present, a few of them will be unconscious of this part of this stuff. Quite the other, more than half of them will be conscious of their connection with Lemuria, and those will be able to open further, not more than just the healing of their wounding and what has happened with Atlantis, but they will be also open to receive more of the essence of their Lemurian self and their Lemurian gifts, so that they are able to open up to further truth. And as you know, all of the star seeds are galactic and intergalactic. These people shall, if that is in alignment to their intention, they will be also open to receive more of their star gifts. When we say awakening gifts, it's triggering to some people, but what we are going to say is simply to awaken what is innate within you, awaken that abilities or that natural expression of yourself. And so it's going to be, we are not over promising, but we are setting the tone of what to amplify the intention. So know that everything is up to the personal desire and intention and whatever you are able to allow in. But do expect, as you were saying, the healing takes place, or the remembering takes place with much more effect when it's through joy, when it's through sheer emotional heart opening, when it's through deep connection, when it's through the space where you feel you are able to breathe and be you and be seen, and to see other people as well, to be in surrounding of your soul family. That in itself is tremendous healing and awakening, or as you would say, homecoming. And that enables a lot of the remembering of the true essence. And in other words, it's to create more space for the individual to experience the joy, the freedom, the inspiration, and the flow of life and the connection with the earth. That is most important, is deepen that connection with the earth, with the environment, because at the same time, that means deepen the connection within yourself. And that is what is going to take place. So we thank you for holding the space. Know that you are doing a great job, and all you need to do this time is also relax and open to allow grace and joy to flow through for yourself. Of course, you do your role, but do allow yourself to be held as well as a facilitator. Know that everybody is being taken care of by their team, by the Mother Earth, by all these beings that you're calling in to co-create and to facilitate and to hold space for this true retreat. And we are sending you so much love. The channel is not comfortable making whale sounds yet. Someday she will. But we shall just say goodbye for now here, and sending you so much love, and know that you are always, always held, loved, and supported.
Thank you.
Thank you. That was fun.
That was so much more beautifully said than I ever could say.
No, but it's just part of you as well, right? It's part of
I love
our
it.
co-creation. Yeah.
Yeah,
No,
I truly can't wait. I'm really looking forward to doing this again. I think it's going to be amazing. I think it
great.
was amazing last year, and I think it's going to be even more amazing this year, or well amazing, as I like to say it, because I think we're
Well,
like we are building on it, you know, we're building on what happened last year, and we are co-creating, you know, building on that.
yeah.
It's just a continued expansion. Yeah.
Cannot wait either. Thank you
And it's
so
so funny.
much.
I think we very early when we met up, when we connected, we were talking about swimming with the dolphin and the whales together, weren't we? I mean,
Yeah.
that's before I swam with the dolphins and the whales all together, but we were already talking about it.
Yeah, yeah, it's coming true, coming true. Things do come true. Yeah.
Thank
So
you
much.
so much, Ariana.
Uh,
This has been so much fun.
yeah,
Thank
thank
you.
you. Yeah, thank you everyone for tuning in. If you are still listening by this the very end, thank you so much. We hope you have a great time, enjoy the conversation, and do reach out to Frida or leave your comments and hit like and subscribe. I'll see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.